You guys, it's good. Welcome back on the channel. You know what time it is. 2 weeks of international break over, done with. And Inter is back. We're here to preview Monza versus Inter. But before that, we've got a few news to cover. I've just finished watching Juve's boring ass 0-0 draw away to Empoli. Empoli looking better than I thought they would this season. Very impressive. Clean sheet to Juve. So that was good. And then the Milan are about to kick off soon. But of course, ahead of tomorrow's game, I had to talk to you guys. But the couple of news I wanted to talk to you guys before, frustrating news, to be honest. First, I want to talk about is if you haven't been following, don't follow it. If you have been following it, don't follow it. And if you haven't been following it, I'll give you a bit of a insight into what's been going on. It's, of course, Inter's and AC Milan's new stadium situation. Over the last few months, after Inter and Milan both officially announced that they wanted to build their own stadium, Milan had found an area in San Donato in Milano, Inter a little bit outside of Milano, Rozzano, both of them having some form of agreements with the land to start not building, planning potentially. But then Milano's mayor, Sala, brought the parties back in. They said, no, don't do this, don't do this. We've talked to a company called WeBuild, which is a massive architecture and building company that actually is doing the whole of Roma's new, not Roma the club, as in Rome's new like whole subway system, metro system. So they do big projects, and they said, oh, these guys, they can renovate San Siro. We can do what Barca have done to the Camp Nou, what the Bernabeu, Real Madrid have done. Don't tear down San Siro. Let's keep San Siro. We can modernize it. It'll cost around 350 million euros. You won't even need to close down San Siro. You can keep playing in San Siro. And then afterwards, in a few years, it'll be all done. And you guys can actually own it. You can buy it off us, own San Siro, two of you. Everyone's happy. And actually, I thought, the fact that the clincher for me was actually the fact that there was the potential for Inter and Milan to own San Siro, which is the key, us owning it, not having to pay rent to the council every year. So I was like, okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look what, this WeBuild guys, maybe they can cook up. But it seems that, WeBuild or whatever the, expectation projections were way off track. As revealed from the other day here, where is the article from? Calcio Mercato, not a great source. But anyway, translated here by Sempre Inter. So a report in the Italian press reveals the reasons prompting to Inter and Milan to avert the San Siro renovation plan. Milano Mayor Giuseppe Sala has been pushing for this project with the WeBuild. The company presented a detailed study for the two clubs back in June. The suggested plan would have allowed the stadium to remain active, only closing some sections while the campaign is ongoing. But in today's meeting, Milan and Inter were both informed of their rejection. And now they're going back to the old proposal. Not the Rozzano and San Donato one. This is the one from 2019, which would be building a stadium together next to the current Meazza ground. And the reason for that is because the plan is deemed too expensive. I think the 350 million original estimate cost is probably going to be double that. They're talking about 700 million. And then the partial closure would be probably bigger than they first initially said. And then that would mean them missing out on large figures of revenue for, few seasons or 4 seasons at least. And, with these projects, they usually go over the estimation. So it could be more than 4 seasons. So there you go. That's that. Inter Milan basically saying no to this. And then now the report today saying that both they had a positive talks with the Milan mayor on building the new stadium next to San Siro. So again, it's going to be together now, not separate, Milan and Inter together for a stadium right next to San Siro. But anyway, I'm not going to even get too far into this because the reason why I don't really into these stories, why you shouldn't, because nothing's going to happen for years, guys. Your grandchildren are going to see whatever this new stadium is, eventually, whatever it will be, whether it's the same, current San Siro renovated or a new one, your grandchildren are going to see it. You're probably not going to see it. You're not going to probably get experiences. So it doesn't matter. It is what it is. That's the league that we play in. Or it's not even about the league, really. It's Italy. Italy, the legislation, the bureaucracy is different level. It's frustrating. It is what it is. It is what it is. And we move on. Let's talk about tomorrow's game, and which is not at the San Siro. It's at Monza Stadium. We're away, but by away we mean, of course, 20 minutes down the road from Milano at Monza. Before we get into the preview, the new third kit officially launched. It was already, I think I saw already launched a little while back, but it seemed like it was the other day where Inter made the official announcement and photo shoot and everything was released. And here it is, with obviously, it's exactly the same as the leaks said, apart from obviously they added the 2 stars from the leaks. And I don't like it. I do see the resemblance and the styling, the kind of inspiration was this 96-97 third kit, which is actually really nice. I actually want to buy that. I actually want to go after this video, look online if I can find this one, because that is actually really nice in this weird kind of orange tint. This one is not a good ode to this, in my opinion. I don't know what these patterns represent. They haven't even told us. I don't know why. Like, why is the Nike sign like? Yeah, I know why it's vertical, because it's part of the template that a lot of the third kits in Europe for the Nike sponsored teams have this vertical Nike tick. But my issue is like it just kind of like goes into this pattern here, just randomly just like goes into it. So there's no like real flow to it, or yeah, it just looks. I don't really like it. It's not a good trio, to be honest, this year. The first kit, yeah, home kit is decent. Second one, I love it, but this third one, not so much. And I bought last year's third kit, so you guys know that it's not about the colors or anything. I do like something a bit different, but I'm not digging it. But what do you guys think? I don't think we're going to be wearing it tomorrow. I haven't seen it, but maybe, we're away. Sometimes last season we wore the third kit away. Wouldn't be a bad game to debut in, or will we debut it against Manchester City away in Manchester, which, fingers crossed at the moment. I have bought tickets, but I don't know if those tickets are real, but I will be going to the Man City game on Wednesday, which is a really, really quick turnaround for Inter and Inzaghi's boys. So let's get into the preview, thinking about this quick turnaround, playing on a Sunday. Then you have the Monday, Tuesday. You're probably going to have to travel down to England. Not much time at all. So Inzaghi has to rotate. And if you remember, Inzaghi last year in the Champions League was very heavy rotation when it came to the Champions League games, specifically in the Champions League. Maybe not so much in the Serie A, but the Champions League games, if you remember, like against Sociedad and the Salzburg games, like there was a lot of rotation in the actual Champions League games. And by the looks of it, let me refresh it one more time, because you never know with Inzaghi. This is the current projected starting lineup. I don't know what happened to all the faces, the images of the players' faces on Sky Sport Italia. This is the most up-to-date at the moment projected lineup. There's been some changes actually just before a few hours ago when I saw this originally. There was Bisek here actually and Hakan starting here, but actually that's been replaced by Aslani coming in for Hakan. Pavard coming in, and lo and behold, I was going to tweet it out that, Inzaghi benching Mkhitaryan for Zielinski. I want to see that. I'm going to believe it when I see it. And look at this latest up-to-date now. Prediction is Mkhitaryan, of course, is not going to be benched. And Zielinski is not starting, according to this is Sky Sport Italia. You guys know I hold in terms of, we'll see about this season, but last few seasons, they've definitely been the best when it comes to predicting the Inter lineups. But good news or interesting news is Frattesi coming in. for Barella. We know Barella had his nose operation over the international break. That's why he didn't go out with Italy, and he's probably still not fully fit, after recovering from his operation, which is a minor one, but still probably had a bit of a step back in his training regime. So it's good to see Frattesi has been on hot fire form for Italy, not for Inter, because he hasn't started a game for Inter yet. So he probably, in terms of that, he probably does deserve to start the game. So it's good to see a little bit of rotation. And this is the midfield. I remember last season we went away at Fiorentina and we won 1-0 or 2-1. Definitely a 1-goal difference. But I remember this is exactly the same midfield that went out that time last season to Fiorentina away. So I'm confident Aslani and Frattesi can do the job. I know a lot of people still have a lot of doubts with Aslani. Yes, the drop-off between him and Hakan at the moment is still quite high. But in a game away to Monza, this is when Aslani should be able to step in and do his job. And I have faith in him to do his job tomorrow. De Vrij looks like he's stepping in for Acerbi, according to Sky Sport. Carlos Augusto stepping in for Bastoni, which makes sense because Bastoni played all the games for Italy. Surprising to see actually Di Marco continuing to play because of that. I thought maybe Di Marco would rest more of Bastoni. But I guess Inzaghi and the coaching staff, fitness staff know best. And up front, actually, there was Thuram and Taremi when I saw the original lineups, but now it looks like it's Lautaro and Thuram, which is good. But at the same time, we need to get Lautaro up to full fitness now. We haven't seen him at his best yet, obviously, because of his late comeback from international duty, etc., holiday. But yeah, that's a strong lineup. And of course, Darmian continuing. Actually, a little bit surprised. I thought in the rotation there would be Dumfries starting, but maybe Dumfries will be starting against Man City, which makes sense to me. That's Sky Sport Italia. Let's see what Gazzetta are saying in terms of the lineup. Gazzetta, little bit different. We see Taremi starting instead of Lautaro. We see Hakan keeping his place. We see Barella keeping his place, but Frattesi still playing. And we see Dumfries stepping in. So that's quite interesting. Which one of the two lineups would you guys go for? I prefer this one because I do want to, if Barella isn't fully fit yet, I don't want to risk him. And Martinez still, even if he's come back from Argentina for international duty, still, if you can get him 50, 60 minutes and then sub him off in, looking ahead to the Champions League game, I'm happy with that. It seems like Bisek was starting earlier. I saw even Gazzetta had Bisek starting, but even Gazzetta have taken Bisek out now. So that's interesting. But again, either way, really good lineups, really good enough to beat this Monza team. Let's talk about Monza. I'm not been impressed by Monza this year. Sky Sport really need to sort out their website, but I talked about in my season preview, Nesta. I don't really rate him as a coach, or I haven't really seen much enough of him to rate him yet. And, they've had a struggling start to the season, only 2 points clinched as you see them here near the bottom at the moment. To be fair to Nesta, they haven't really made any good acquisitions over the summer. The only guy they really brought in was Daniel Maldini on the free. Apart from that, they haven't really backed him in the transfer window. They signed Sensi on a permanent, and Gagliardini doesn't seem to be a starter anymore. Still a decent team, but they're just not as good as they were last year. So I think we should be able to dispatch this team quite comfortably. Last year, if you remember, we went there away and we demolished them 5-1. Really, really good performance by Inter that day. I'm not expecting a 5-1, but I'm expecting quite a comfortable 2-0 or 3-0 win, to be honest. If Taremi starts, I'm predicting him to break his duck and get his first Inter goal, and then Frattesi to get another one to close things out. And then if it's this other lineup, maybe Lautaro to open his scoring, and then Frattesi to clinch the win. You guys let me know your thoughts down below ahead of tomorrow's game, ahead of the Man City game as well. What type of rotation, what's your thinking in terms of what should Inzaghi do ahead of that big game Man City won their game today 2-1. Haaland almost scored another hat-trick. That guy is on a tear at the moment. Scary, but we have Francesco Cerbi, right? But yeah, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, let me know your predictions down below. Ciao, Porta Inter.